Shalom, shalom, Israel. We are here with our weekly Q&A for Healthwatchers on this is my main channel, Pernack Family Redeemed, but I would love for this to go live on my Health or Temple Watchers channel, but we can't do that until I have at least 50 subscribers. So if you have not yet, please like and subscribe. Go over to @TempleWatchers and like and subscribe there so that we can live stream over there. But I also love all my subscribers here at Pernack Family Redeemed. So yeah, today we are going to be talking about detox. I know last week I said we were going to talk about kind of my routine as far as how I keep my kitchen stocked and what my daily routine is as far as food is concerned. But we had a little bit of a shift. My husband suggested that I do this detox topic instead. And the reason is that this week I've been focusing on the healing of my shoulder, and I can give a little testimony about that. Hopefully you can still hear me. We have here at home a couple detox things, a couple things that we are using for healing. And so I wanted to talk about those and kind of give you an update, it's just so that you feel a little bit more comfortable when it comes to detoxing for your life and why you need to detox, if it's even necessary. So let's get right into it. So in the world that we live in today, we are constantly being just attacked with chemicals and lack of nutrients. Those are literally the foundation of all illness, all the chemicals and the lack of nutrients. And so in order to combat that, you can't just be placid. You can't just go through life hoping for the best. You can eat super healthy, but the reality is, like we talked about last week, that if you eat an apple today, it does not have the same nutrient value as an apple did 50 years ago because our dirt is depleted. So we will talk more about that as the weeks go on. But the other half of that is lowering our detox load lowering our chemical load. I don't know if you guys are distracted by all the noise, but I am getting distracted. All of the cars going by. So focusing, let me focus. We're going to be focusing today on lowering those chemical loads in our bodies. And the Father actually gave us our bodies a way to naturally detox. And there are 4, sometimes 5, depending upon if you're a woman or not, but 4 ways that your body naturally detoxes. So urinating, defecating, breathing and coughing, so your lung area, and sweating. So those are the 4 main ones that God gave us. So for instance, if you're not drinking, you're not going to be peeing much. That is a form of detox that you're not getting. Or if you're not getting enough fiber and you don't have a regular bowel movement, that is another form of detox that you're not getting. Breathing and coughing. If you are not breathing clean air, you're getting chemicals. So we make sure to clean our air. And then lastly, which is really interesting, is sweating. And these 4 are for everybody. And then for women, it also includes the monthly menstruation. That is also a form of detox. So the sweating part, I have a fun story, a testimony from one of my daughters. This was actually just yesterday, which is another interesting fact, the reason why we're doing the detox topic today. But she said to me, "Mom, I'm experiencing something totally different this year during summer that I've never experienced before. I was like, well, what is it? And she's like, well, I'm sweating for the first time. And I was like, really? And she wasn't just talking about underarms. She was talking about all over her body. And she's like, yeah, it feels kind of heavy on my skin, which is a weird experience. But it's really nice when the wind is blowing because it cools me off. And she's like, I'm realizing that this is probably a natural human experience that I have never had until this year. Okay. We have been going through this process of healing for 2 years now, almost 2 years. It'll be 2 years in October. So we're a little shy of that, a year and 9 months. And she's just now experiencing sweating. If you are not sweating, that is a serious problem. You should be sweating. You want to be sweating to get rid of the toxins in your body. That's one of the ways God gave you to do that. So what we've done with this healing process is we have tried to get our bodies going again, getting it to detox itself again, right? So if she was not sweating, how do you get your body to sweat? And then obviously menstruation, that's something you don't have a lot of control over. But if you have irregular menstrual cycles or you're stopping your menstrual cycles with unnatural hormones, bad idea. Not only is your body not detoxing, but you're also putting poisons in your body and potentially causing infertility and cancer is what like birth control pills and such do. Even IUDs, all they are just an internal form of birth control. So, that can be another topic for another day. But all of these forms of detox are so important that God implemented into our lives specifically to help us detox. Now, what do you do if you aren't doing one of these 4 or 5 things well? You have to address them. One of the first things that our naturopath, our chiropractor, naturopath doctor, I'll refer to him as our doctor from here on out, Dr. Brett Spradlin at Divine Design Natural Health. He is our primary care physician as far as I'm concerned at this point. He is who we, talk to whenever there's an issue. So anyway, from henceforth, I will call him a doctor. He is not a MD. Praise God. I do not want to mischaracterize him as that. So please know that. So if you're not doing one of these things regularly or well, what do you do? As I was saying, one of the first things that Dr. Brett does for all his patients is he makes sure that they are drinking clean water and breathing clean air. Our bodies are 80-90% water. So as we are drinking water throughout the day, if that water is not clean, we're causing more issues than we're helping. So getting a good reverse osmosis filter is what he suggests. And that's what we did first and foremost. And then that helps your urination, your peeing. And so that's one of the forms that you're improving. The second thing he focuses on is what we are breathing, and that's our air. And we do have control over our air in our homes. Boy, the birds are happy today. You guys are so happy. And so our breathing is then affected by that. So if you can get a good HEPA filter for your home, whether that's a portable one or one that's installed in your wall, do it, because that is the other way we detox. And if you're breathing toxic air, which we do a lot when we're out and about, if you know, you know, then we need a place of refuge where we can go and breathe clean air. So that is really, really important. So yeah, that would be breathing. And then if you are not having regular good bowel movements, that is also an issue. And it's an interesting thing. I won't name any names, but a family member close to us, well, of course, this person's close to us. She's a family member, but a family member was diagnosed with bladder cancer. And I was thinking about that, and there's really only two ways you can get cancer. It is through chemicals and radiation. So it's nothing besides that, according to Dr. Brett. It is not genes, it is not germs, it is chemicals and radiation. And so I was thinking through those two reasons. And number one, how often do we hold our computers right at our laps, right by our bladder? That could cause some bladder cancer. But the second way is chemicals. And I did talk to the doctor about this, and he affirmed that I was correct in this assumption. And that's that if you are eating and drinking a lot of chemically laden things, then they're going directly into your bladder and sitting there. And, if you're not peeing regularly or holding your pee a lot or whatever, all those chemicals are getting into your bladder. They can absolutely, if they're cancer causing, cause cancer. So I think oftentimes we don't think through what might be causing these things. And then going back to bowel movements, number one, first and foremost, if you are on any doctor prescribed pharmacia, I'm not going to tell you to get off of them, but I am going to tell you to go onto drugs.com and look up all of the side effects associated with them. Those are listed for a reason. Constipation is typically one of them, especially for painkillers. You will see constipation a lot. So that first and foremost, if you decide to get off of those drugs, then you will probably get back to a much regular routine of detox in that respect. Another point that you should pay attention to is the food that you eat. If you're not getting enough fiber, and I don't mean fiber from the bars or the products they have out there that they say, oh, this has 15 grams of fiber or 6 grams of fiber or whatever, but I mean real whole food that your body can process. Standard Process is the name of a company that we do use their whole food fiber. On occasion, we do a cleanse every year, and we use that fiber to kind of speed up and detox in that way faster during that cleanse time. But typically, you shouldn't need that. Typically, you should be eating enough fruits and veggies to really clean your system out on its own, and drinking enough good water that has been cleaned, that your body should be able to have regular bowel movements. And if you don't have that, one of those pieces is missing. That's just not normal. That's not how God designed your body to work. And you don't have some crazy disease. It's that you are either poisoning yourself or not getting the nutrients you need. That's the simplicity of it. And I know, keep it simple, stupid. It sounds really stupid, but it is that simple. So we start our days every day, and I talked about this, I think, on our very first Healthwatchers about 3 or 4 weeks ago, about our smoothies, our green smoothies. And we do those every single day. And when we don't do them, I do notice a difference. So it definitely gets your body moving. Having a non-chemically laden coffee in the morning also helps with that. It is a natural way of getting and stimulating your intestines. That is a great way to do it as well. So yeah, those are the top 2 or 3. Now, the sweating situation is interesting. When we first started going to Dr. Brett, he introduced us to 3 forms of detox that actually accelerate our normal detoxification and help heal our bodies. And first and foremost was the infrared sauna. And an infrared sauna is very different than normal saunas. Now, normal saunas are great as well because they do stimulate that detoxing of sweating. But what infrared saunas do is they start at your core. And instead of going from the outside in, they go from the inside out. So they start heating you from the inside, and then they heat you out, and your pores start sweating. And actually, interestingly enough, after you finish the session, your body continues to detox in that manner throughout that day or so over the next 6 to 8 hours, because it's an internal, for lack of a better analogy, it's like a microwave. You know how a microwave, goes into the center of the food, and then it microwaves it from the center to the outside. So thankfully, it's not a microwave. If you have a microwave, don't use it. Get rid of it. It is radiation at its best. And what do we know causes cancer? Radiation and chemicals. So those are the two things you're trying to diminish. If you have questions about what I'm saying, please post them in the comments. I am keeping an eye on the comments section. You can also, email me at greatphysiciansrx@gmail.com. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have. I love passing along this information that Dr. Brett has bestowed upon us over the last year and 9 months. It has been a fire hose, and we have spent countless hours and thousands of dollars to educate our family. And I believe the Father wants me passing this along to his people, because for such a time as this, we want to be strong physically, so that we can be there present physically, helping build his kingdom and helping in these end times, so that when people are looking for answers, we have answers, right? Okay, so we have, let's look at the infrared sauna. The infrared sauna, let me just tell you a little about it. It looks just like a normal sauna. You get into it and you sit there and you bake for about 140 degrees for about an hour, 45 minutes or so. And during that time, you will start seeing yourself sweat. And sometimes toward the beginning when we were doing it, we wouldn't even start sweating until the last 10 minutes. Now I start sweating a lot sooner. It's training your body to use that detox method that God already built into it, which is awesome. So that is what I believe was the helper for my daughter getting going again, of sweating. She didn't even sweat before experiencing this. So it's a very important detox method. Secondly, let's talk about the ionic foot spa. The ionic foot spa is, I'm sure you've all seen foot spas at salons, nail salons, where they have the foot spas that you put your feet in and they, bubble up or whatever. This is a little different in that there's an electrical current that gets run through the water, and it's very low, so you don't even feel anything, but it gets run through the water, and it switches off from positive to negative ions that are being run through there every 3 to 4 minutes. And I believe it takes a full cycle of 24 minutes for your body, the blood in your body, for it all to cycle through your feet. And so the ionic foot spa is designed to run for 24 minutes. And I apologize, I don't know if it's 2 full cycles of blood through your feet or only 1. But suffice it to say that as your blood goes through there, the positive and negative charges start detoxing your blood and pulling out things that shouldn't be there, attaching a positive charge to your blood to help it renew and regenerate. I was not a science major in high school or college, and so there are probably many of you that know more than I do. I should have Dr. Brett's description of it. He, of course, gives a really great description of it. I should have that in front of me, shouldn't I? But I can put a link in the comments so that you guys can access that as well. His website is divinedesignnaturalhealth.com. And he has so much information on his website. I would encourage you to get on his website, look at the wellness workshops specifically, and just learn. My people perish for lack of knowledge is what the Bible says. And that is no more true than the nose on my face and the health that I did not have 2 years ago, and I have now. And it is as a result of me learning and submitting myself to someone that I know that I knew more than I did. So I actually had, 10 years of health focus in my life prior to Dr. Brett. We had gone all organic. We were using essential oils. We were trying to get rid of, the things that we thought we shouldn't be eating. And yet we were still sick. And so I was like, okay, Lord. And I cried out to the Lord, and he heard my cry, and he introduced us to Dr. Brett. And that was the next step in this process of healing. So just cry out to the Lord. He absolutely will answer your cry, and he will answer your questions, because he knows where your heart is and what you're ready to receive. I've been down this road for a year and a half, 2 years now, as far as this new information. But a year and a half, 2 years ago, I might not have been ready to hear what I'm hearing today that's changing my life today. So it's a journey, and I understand that. So ask questions, learn. So yeah, that's the Ionic Foot Spa, and it's very relaxing. But what you'll see, it's those spas that they turn all dark brown, and everybody has an opinion about whether they work or not. But that is what we go and do immediately when we feel like we're coming down with a cold. It's usually a result of being around too much air freshener or perfumes, or, it's usually a result of chemicals that we've gotten exposed to. And our body responds with symptoms that have been labeled a cold, but really are just detox. It's our body's way of getting rid of the junk. And so we go do an Ionic Foot Spa, and oftentimes it can nip it in the bud, which is awesome. Oh, and to go back to the infrared sauna, that specifically, I've actually used that for a lot of different things. Typically, it's recommended for skin issues. Obviously, if you're not sweating like you should, but I have found it really helpful with migraines as well. And the reason, I think, even though I had this tug of war with it, I was like, ooh, heat, I don't know if I want to go in there. I already am not feeling well. With migraines, a lot of heat can be nauseating. But what's causing your migraines? Well, migraines are caused by lack of nutrition and too many chemicals. So if I'm wanting to get rid of those too many chemicals, sweating like that for 45 minutes is a really great way to do that. And that's probably why I've found so much success in that. So yeah, it just feels like it's baking it out. It's baking out those toxins. And my migraine usually is shortened quite a bit. I'm going to wait till this big truck goes around the corner. So let's see, what else? Oh yeah, so PEMF. A PEMF can come in the form of a few different things. The professional ones you can lay on a table, you can sit in a chair. They have paddles that you can use in spots that are specific. So you have a lot of different ways you can do it, but basically what it is a very concentrated form of what the Father has already put in the earth. Everyone knows that our earth has a specific electromagnetic frequency to it. And so a PEMF is a pulse electronic magnetic frequency, and that's what it stands for. And so it's a concentrated form of what the Father's already done. And you lay on a bed or, whatever for about an hour. Sometimes I'll do half-hour sessions. And I actually have a portable PEMF device this week at the house, as I am healing my shoulder that I mentioned earlier in the session. What it does, it's like exercising your body at the cellular level. So if there's any injuries, let's say you have tendons or bones or muscles damaged, torn, what that's doing is it's exercising those cells, it's pulling the toxins out, and it's helping your body restore itself to its natural, for lack of a better word, frequency. All of our bodies have a frequency. That's the way God designed it. God designed everything in nature to have a frequency, a resonance that it vibrates at. And I know that can sound very New Age. The New Age movement has tried to separate the science of it from God, the creator. So, because we live in the culture we live and we are in the Western culture, that's really the only way we've been introduced to it. And we've been blinded from it for a long time as a result. Blinded from what the Creator intended it for, which was for His people, to heal His people. An interesting thing, toward the end of my mother's life, she passed away in 2025, last year in June. And toward the end of her life, we spent a lot of time in the hospital. That was not my choice. That was her choice. And when we were there, it was so physically, emotionally, spiritually taxing. It was probably the hardest time I've ever had in my whole life, emotionally. And not just because she was sick, but because of the surroundings and the different philosophy of life that I had than her. And I remember after being in the hospital with her for 10 days straight, I stayed with her day and night. I reached a breaking point and I couldn't stay there any longer. So one of my daughters came and took my place for a day and gave me a break. I had not allowed myself to cry or relax or mend for those 11 days I was in, or 10 days. I was in go mode. I was in heal mode. I was in caretaker mode. I was in protector mode. And I got home and just started weeping. And I fell down on our front lawn and just laid there for probably 45 minutes. And it was a beautiful day. And I remember looking up at the clouds and seeing His creation and just observing the green and just starting to heal from being surrounded by the sterility and oftentimes the demonic nature of what you experience when you're in hospitals. And I started to heal. And I thought back about that, and I didn't realize it at the moment, but I thought back about that, and I was absorbing the Earth's natural electromagnetic frequencies, and that was realigning my frequencies. Sorry, I didn't mean to hit the microphone. Realigning my frequencies and helping my body realign. So, the Father gave us everything we need for life and godliness here on earth. And don't you think He would delight in His children figuring out the science behind how He has designed it, and then finding ways to apply that to our lives and intensify that for our healing? He knew we would do that. He knew that He had built that analytical brain into many of us. So I just found that really, really cool. So the PEMF table is absolutely so effective when you're dealing with pain, especially. It's very good for pain. Um, and as a matter of fact, the mainstream medical world uses it for pain in cancer patients at this point. But it's also good for healing and helping your body's immune system be rebooted and strengthened. So I'm using it right now for the healing of my shoulder and the pain associated with that. But then the last tool I want to talk about, and this isn't necessarily detox, but this is a healing tool. And there are two different kinds, actually. A lot of people think this is a red laser, and it's not. It's not like red light therapy that everybody knows it as online, that women are buying like those masks and stuff to put on their faces. But it looks like it. So there's the red light. This is actually cold light therapy. And cold light therapy is very good for healing bones and parts of the body that you cannot see. So, any kind of internal healing that needs to take place, broken bones, ripped tendons, ripped muscles, tumors, cells that just aren't functioning correctly, this can be used for that to help with that healing. And so I've been using it on my shoulder this week, and actually I think it's good for pain. I've experienced a lot of pain relief using it on my shoulder this week. I did typically the sessions that you do in the doctor's office. They're like 4-minute sessions, and you they're self-directed. They also have a bigger one that they use on you while you're waiting for your chiropractic treatment. They'll put it up and down your spine. That's like a whole body healing time. But yesterday when I was using this on my shoulder, and I've used it pretty frequently over the last week as I've been trying to heal my shoulder. But yesterday I noticed a palpable difference in my pain level after using it. And I was kind of stretching my shoulder in the directions that it hurts and then using the laser on it. But Dr. Brett has some really cool x-rays that he did just to show the power of the cold laser for healing, specifically bones. And one of his patients, their, I think, 10 or 12-year-old son had broken a bone in his arm. One of the big bones, actually. It was one of these two bones. I can't remember which one. And he had this x-ray of it, before and after the child had come in and done the cold laser therapy on his bone. I think it was like 6 to 8 weeks. It might have been less than that. But it was so amazing to see, because not only had the break completely healed, but the density of his bones had improved. And that could have been a result of using the cold laser. It could have also been a result of better nutrition, because knowing Dr. Brett, he probably told him, hey, you need to get on these supplements during this time of healing. And it gave his body what it needed to heal. So, when you believe that Yahovah, Yud-He Vav-He, is your creator, and that he created you, and that your body is good and perfect and fearfully and wonderfully made, Scripture says. It's fearfully and wonderfully made. When you believe that, you will believe that it can heal. You won't question that. You'll know that if it's given what it needs, it will heal. And he says in the Bible, the Father gives us everything we need for life and godliness here on earth. So don't believe the lies that there's nothing that can be done, that whoever you're talking to doesn't know what's causing it. I can tell you what's causing any illness, and that's what Dr. Brett says. It's either chemicals that you're putting in, on, or around your body, or it's lack of nutrients. Period. End of story. It's not genes, it's not germs. So With that information, you can be empowered. You can be empowered. You no longer have to feel like you're the victim, that there's nothing you can do, that there's no hope. There is hope. There is hope. Don't perish for lack of knowledge. Get out there, do your research, go to Dr. Brett's website and start learning. This is a process. It has taken us 1 year and 9 months to get to this point. I also disciplined myself. I got through his academy. I have graduated now with honors, which I'm very proud of. So I applied myself to learn what it takes to stay healthy, because that was of utmost importance to me. I want to be healthy spiritually, and I want to be healthy physically, because I want to be effective in his kingdom. And it's very difficult to be effective in his kingdom when you're laid out in bed all the time. At least it was for me. So be encouraged by that information. Be challenged by that information. Don't just throw the baby out with the bathwater and say, well, that's not what I've been told. And I know I have an incurable disease and I'm going to stick with that. Look, if you decide to stick with that, that is your choice, but it is not truth. So search it out. I'm excited for your journey of healing. I'm excited to see what God's going to do in your life. Please post it in the comments, email me, let me know what the Lord's doing in your life, health-wise, what questions you have. I'd love to be able to help in any way I can. I have been helping a select few friends with food logs and teaching them what Dr. Brett taught me at the very beginning of our journey as far as what we should be putting in our mouths. If you find it difficult to put the right thing in your mouth, then maybe look at the spiritual side of your life and see if you've created a spiritual discipline that disciplines you in a way that it creates that strength to make the right choices. Because if you don't have the strength to make the right choices, you will continue to fail as far as what you put in your mouth. So, yes, I'm kind of being your mom right now, but find a spiritual discipline, whether that's praying every morning. We do 9 a.m. prayers every morning live on Perneck Family Redeemed. Whether that is reading scripture, I post regular scripture readings and teachings. You can read a proverb a day based on the day of the month. You can read a few psalms a day based on the month. Fasting is another way to do that. And let's see, fasting. And then doing the Father's feasts at the bare minimum. Start with the Father's feasts and the Shabbat. See where he takes you from there. So with that, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope this has been helpful, talking through what detox methods you can do to help yourself detox. And of course, if you want to learn more about it, go to Dr. Brett's website. If you want to actually take part in these detox methods and you live in Cleveland, Tennessee, where he is based, look him up. They do have detox packages you can go in for. It's very basic and it's a good way to dip your toes into what he's doing. So until next time, we will be getting together next week at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time for our next Healthwatchers live Q&A. And I believe the topic will be next week, the routines that I have implemented into our daily lives to just help with the decisions we make so that we don't have like decision paralysis and what we stock in our pantries, that type of thing. So I hope you find these helpful. I hope you have a blessed day and a blessed week. And until next time, shalom, shalom.